Good morning, everybody. It's Letitia. I am going to make Biscochitos today. So what I'm going to get started with first is you need cinnamon sugar. And I'm going to put one big cup of sugar. And you ask yourself, well, why does she need cinnamon sugar? Is because once the Biscochitos come out of the oven, you put them in the cinnamon sugar face up, and then you put them on a pan. And so I'm going to use, usually you have to blend it in, so I'm going to do a teaspoon at a time. So I'm going to do 1 teaspoon because it depends on how light and dark you want your sugar to look. There's some individuals that like their sugar cinnamon to look dark. I like mine to be like a middle darkness. So that looks pretty good. 1 teaspoon. Okay. I'm going to just put a little bit more. I'm going to put a half a teaspoon more in. So I put a teaspoon and a half. You can put up to 2 teaspoons. You can put as much as you like. And see? I don't know if you can see the color. It's like a light, it's a medium brown. So there's people that it's either they like it lighter than this or they like it darker. So it just depends on how you like your cookies to have how much cinnamon sugar on it. And so I'm going to put this to the side and I'll be right back and we'll start working on our dough. So I'll be right back. Tish's Dishes. Okay, in my bowl, I'm going to make my wet mixture first. So I'm going to put in 4 eggs. I am going to put a teaspoon of vanilla. I'm going to put not a whole, a half a teaspoon of cinnamon because I don't want the cinnamon to overpower the mix. I'm going to put in anise extract. This is the one I was talking about, is that you got to be very careful with it because it can overpower the whole thing. So I am going to put less than half a teaspoon of anise extract because it's very, my husband doesn't like the anise seeds. Okay, and then I'm going to put a half a teaspoon of baking soda and half a teaspoon of baking powder, and I'm going to put 1 cup of lard, and I'm going to melt the lard, and then I'm going to mix it all together, and I'll show you what it looks like before I add the dry ingredients. Okay, so I have all the ingredients that I told you. So it's the anise, vanilla, cinnamon, baking powder, baking soda, 4 eggs, and right there is my lard. So what I'm going to do now is I am going to start the blender and add in my lard as I'm beating the eggs, and it's just to make sure that it doesn't, that it just blends, it blends so much better and it puffs up. So I'll be right back and I'll show you. Okay, pretty much I just want you to see what I'm doing so that you get an idea of what how I'm getting this all prepared. So I'm going to start the beating of the eggs, and then I'm going to add in the lard. As you can see, and I'm pretty sure you can see what I'm doing there. Just want to make sure. So I'm going to add in the lard. Okay, I'm going to beat this for a while and I'll be right back. Okay, see how I beat it, all the wet ingredients together. So now I'm going to add a cup of sugar, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to beat it in. I'll show you. Hold on. Okay, now you can see I am going to beat in the sugar, 1 cup. Hold on a second. Well, I'm going to beat that in and then I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, now you can see the mixture. It has the sugar in it. So this is what I use to make Biscochitos. And so the sugar's in there. Now I'm going to add a cup at a time. I'm going to beat in the flour 1 cup at a time. And when it gets too thick and I can't use my my mixer, then I will use my hand. So I'll show you how I do, and I'll do one and then we'll move on from there. Okay, everybody, if you can see, the blender's in the way. So I'm going to add in 1 cup of flour and then I'm going to beat it in. You might want to use okay, and I'll show you the texture of like 1 cup of flour looks like. So I'm going to add in I'm going to add a cup at a time to make it to where it doesn't stick to the sides. And when I get to that point, I have to put on my gloves, so that I can work it in. And so this is how I make my Biscochitos, and I use no water whatsoever, no other added ingredients. And this is just a recipe that I learned from my grandmother. So this is probably 100-year-old recipe. So I will be right back. Bye, everybody. Okay, so I beat it in 3 cups of flour, and I'm gonna have to put 1 more in, but that one I'm gonna put on some gloves and I'll add that in, and then I'll mix it with my hand. My grandmother, she did this, everything I'm doing she did by hand. So if she saw what I was doing, she'd say, little cheater. So but I cut her recipe down to 4 eggs. She taught me how to use 12 eggs. So I was the one that had to tweak the recipe, because if you've made, I don't know if you've ever made Biscochitos, but if you make them with 12 eggs, you figure how much more ingredients you have to put in and how much time it takes. It could take all day, because you make so many dozens of Biscochitos that I did it once, and that's when I taught myself how to make it with 4 eggs, because I made so much that we got sick because we ate so many. I mean, usually these cookies, we eat them once a year, twice a year, not all the time, because what it's made with, and so otherwise if we ate this all the time, we'd weigh about 400 pounds. So I'll be right back, and we'll move on, and then we'll start building those cookies so we can taste them with some coffee. Okay, I'm back. I am going to add a little bit at a time. This is kind of like when I made my homemade bread. I remember I added a little as I needed, and so what I'm trying to see the texture. What I want to do is do it kind of the same way, the way we did bread. So I'm going to add a little bit at a time. I'm going to work the flour in, and then I will be back to show you what it looks like and what the texture is supposed to look like. So then we'll roll it out and you'll know what it looks, the dough will look like. So then we'll get on to our next step and make the cookies. I'm back. So I want to show you, see how it pulls away from the walls of the bowl. So that's telling you that it's ready to make, we're ready to make cookies, because so you add, see how it comes out so easy? So it's ready, we're ready to make some cookies, and I am going to get my rolling pin and my cutting board, because I roll on top of my cutting board, because you need a flat surface, and I'm probably going to get flour all over me. And I'll be right back, and we'll move on to making the cookies. Okay, I'm back. I'm going to put my glove back on, because I remember I got bit by my doggy and had a cut there, and really don't want to get anything into my cookie batter. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I keep always a little bit of flour on the side, and I sprinkle on the top, just so that if the the cookie batter doesn't stick to the cutting board. So I'm just gonna put a little bit on, squish it around. Okay, squish it around. Then my rolling pin, roll, and then sometimes what you have to do is, because it sticks to the rolling pin, sometimes you have to put just a little bit of flour on top. Just work it in, and then just roll it out to the text to the thickness you like, and then with your cookie cutter, then you cut little cookie shapes. And I use the heart. You can most Hispanic women, they usually use a heart, a star, and whatever they were taught, you know. So, or you could use whatever cookie cutter you like. But I will be right back, and I'll show you what it looks like. Okay, this is my cookie. See, yeah, the thickness of it, I don't like them too thick. So this is what it looks like. So I'm going to put make a whole pan. I have 2 pans going because I didn't have time yesterday, and today is Thursday, Thanksgiving, so I'm going to be rushing today. So I'll show you what they look like on the pan, and then I already have the oven preset to 350. I'll set my timer for 7 minutes. I'll first set it for 7 minutes and look at the bottom, because I don't like them too crunchy, but I like them because these cook so fast. So if at 7 minutes it seems like they're cooking too fast, then I'll check them at 6 minutes. So no more than 6 to 7 minutes per sheet of cookies. Okay, I'll be back. Okay, here's I made 2 pans already, but I haven't baked them yet. So I'm going to put them in the oven. Remember, 350, 6 to 7 minutes. You got to watch them very closely because they can burn so fast, and you can lose so many Biscochitos that you'll start to cry. So just remember, I'm going to put them in right now, and then once the first batch comes out, I will show you what I do next. And let's move on to finishing our Biscochitos from Tisha's Dishes, Leticia Montoya, Santa Fe, New Mexico. And if you like this recipe, make sure you subscribe and ring the bell, and let me know how you like them when you make them. So make them. They're delicious. They're the best in the West. So we'll talk to you soon. Bye. Okay, the cookies are out of the oven. So I'm going to show you what I do. So I'm going to get them, and then I put them into the, see the back? You don't want them too brown. Just drench them in some cinnamon sugar, and just repeat this for all the whole batches. And then we will taste them with some coffee and see what they look like. But I'll show you in just a little bit. So I'm going to do this to all the cookies, and then when I'm all done, I will be back to taste it, and then we'll move on from there. And thank you for joining me to make Biscochitos, Tisha's Dishes. Hi everybody, we're done eating our Thanksgiving meal, and I took a picture of my Biscochito, and I have also,
so sad that I won't be with
you
the
can
family
see it?
for the holidays.
Pumpkin roll. This is what my daughter made the other day. Let's see if you can see it. See it, the pumpkin roll? And then the Biscochito. And I am going to taste it.
Thanks for saving the day. No problem. There wouldn't be Thanksgiving without a
Really
big deal
tender.
providing the food.
It's because of the lard that I use. Keeps the Biscochito very moist and delicious. So, really good. Really good. Also, when I made them this morning, at 6 this morning because I had a lot to do for Thanksgiving, and my daughter and my husband drank coffee and ate Biscochitos. That's the best, and you dunk it in the coffee and take a bite. But it's really good. Super good. Super good. Super soft. Perfect dessert. And then I'm going to eat some of my daughter's pumpkin roll.
It's always within reach. Go to krqe.com or download the KRQE News app for local reporting you can trust.
See? Delicious. Oh, this is my clutch. Yep. It's gotten better though. That is so good. Great. I'm gonna make me a cup of coffee. I'm gonna sit down and finish watching the rest of the game. If you can hear some noise, it's my husband. He's deboning the turkey, and so thank you. If you like this series, remember, subscribe, ring the bell. Tish's Dishes, Leticia Montoya from Santa Fe, New Mexico. Yahoo Mountain Dew. Bye.